Last bit here. I keep getting cut off at the last part of the question. So we've got all the k. So again, sometimes there'll be a pi in your k, sometimes there won't be, and I want to show you the difference, right? And so look, the period is 5 pi, but it got rid of it here. Period was 6, so it's like 6 minutes, whatever it is. My k has the pi, which gets rid of the pi here, and that's why. So my period could be like 6 minutes, 6 days, a cycle of 6 days. So it doesn't have to have a pi in it, but that's the difference. I want to show you that, right? Sometimes there'll be a pi, sometimes there won't. Yes?
If it is like 6 minutes or something, do we put minutes?
Yeah, we don't usually, Later on when we do the questions, the word problems, we'll say it's a 6-minute cycle or something, and when you answer it, you'll put your units back in. Right. Not on the graph here. You don't need it here. You do 6, and then when you answer it, you'll say, oh, it's 6 minutes, 6 seconds, or whatever. Yeah. Okay, so we'll have units later. So f of x equals, so same thing. Amplitude is 4/3. Put your equation. K is 2/5. I don't need the double bracket. Do you see why? Because there's no translation. Right, so don't need a double bracket, and the axis is 2. Good, good? All right, so then that's it. So I just want to show you, and that's what you guys are asking, right? What about the pi, the no pi, right? So it's sometimes there's a pi in the k, sometimes there isn't, but the k is just the scale, right? It was the scale of how much we're multiplying by to get to whatever the period is. Good, any other questions with this? Right, so flip over, next page, yeah. Next page. So we're over here. These are all the same now. So we're going to just keep repeating. This is me giving you the same sort of information here, but I think this is too easy, right? You're like, oh, you know what? I'm bored. Give me more. I need more, right? That's what you're thinking in your heads. I can hear it. So I said, fine, I'll give you less. So I'm not going to tell you the amplitude. I'm going to give you enough hints so that you can figure out the amplitude yourself, because I know you don't want me to baby you anymore. You're like, oh, why are you telling me, look, I told you the amplitude is 4. That is too much. It's too much. It's too much of a gift. So now I won't tell you. I'm going to give you enough hint that you can find the amplitude. The amplitude is the difference between when you subtract the max and the min and you divide it by 2. The axis is going to be the halfway point between the max and the min, and the period, we already know that. We did that on the other page, 2 pi over k. I don't tend to memorize this. I draw it a lot. But if you can memorize it, that's okay. It is not really formula, so don't say, oh, I memorized the formulas of how to get the amplitude. It's more of an understanding. It's halfway between the max and min. So on the part here, I'm going to draw my graph or draw my sketch here. You don't have to draw it. Some people picture it, and some people draw nothing. Right? Some people memorize the formulas. These aren't really formulas. This is just how to find it. I include it because this is how I find it, but it's not really a formula. So I'm going to draw it here in the corner, a little bit bigger so you can write some stuff on it. So I'm going to try to draw it a little neater so you can read my writing. It's going to be a little messy because you're going to have to write some stuff on it, but I gave myself a bit of space, so I'm going to do this. Okay, leave a little bit of space to the left because I'm going to draw a little to the left as well. Okay, so I'm going to draw it. You don't have to, but I'm going to try to explain where I'm getting all the information from on the side. Now, read the question. The question says, state the equation, that means y equals or f of x equals, of both. Ooh, see, you're welcome. I know you were like, oh, I'm bored, I want more. Both sinusoidal functions. When we say sinusoidal, that means sine and cosine. When I say both, I want both sine and cosine. So remember over here, I told you the parent function was sine. Here, I'm telling you I want both sine and cosine. So this is both sine and cosine. Yay, there you go, a little bit more. See, a little bit more of a question. Okay. So now we're going to have to figure out the amplitude, figure out the axis. Again, these are how I find it. You don't have to memorize it. I kind of understand it from the diagram, but let's do this. So I said it's a maximum of 27 and min is -3. And then after this, what we're going to do is I'm going to give you, instead of just saying the max is 27, the min is this, I'm going to say, look, it's a clock and it's swinging from 27 to, so I'm going to describe it even better in more realistic terms, and then you have to figure out what the max and min is. So then that's all that this is, and same with the last section here. this. It's described, and you have to figure out max, min, and then you get your equation. So all the rest of the stuff. So the rest of 6.4 and 6.6 are just, it's going to be described either on a graph. So this example here, I showed you the max and the min. You have to figure it out. So it's all the same question now. So this kind of is the meat of the types of questions that we have left. So max is 27. It does not have to be to scale. So just do something like, okay, 27. Right? Do not do 27 tick marks. The -3 is somewhere down here. Again, not to scale, just so I can know what it is. So I have a graph that's going from 27 to -3. Can you find the axis? Yeah, from that, I already know the amplitude and the axis, right? So again, I do a formula, because that is the formula. I tend to kind of just go, okay, halfway in between. What's halfway in between these two? I add them and divide by 2. So that's where I get my axis from. So if you don't have to write this and you just figure it out by going, oh, but I add it, divide by 2, you don't have to show me the work. What I'm going to mark is I'm going to mark your equation. And on the equation, I'll see that your axis is the number at the end. And I'll see your amplitude is the number in the front. So you don't have to graph this. Nope, you don't. Right? You don't have to graph this at all. And you don't have to actually show me the calculations here. You can just put it into your equation. But I'm showing it to you because some people are like, what is the calculation you're doing? So I'm doing for the axis, I'm going to go 27 plus the -3 and dividing it by 2, and that gets me 12. Which again, some people go, well, yeah, I found halfway. I added it and divided by 2. So 27 plus -24, it's 12. And they go, I do that in my head, that's fine. I'm going to see 12 at the end of my equation. So I'll say plus 12, because that means, right, that it's somewhere here, 12. Right, so I know my equation, I'll have a plus 12 at it. So you already know there's a plus 12 on the equation. Okay. For my amplitude, I know it's from the 12 up to the 27. So if you go, I know if it's 12 to 27, how much is it? It's 15. So you don't have to show me a calculation. So if you go, you know what, I just found it because I figured out my axis, I can do it in my head. You don't have to show me. But if you want a calculation for it, this is 27 minus -3 divided by 2. You actually subtract them, and you're going to get 30. It's 15. So 15 up and 15 down from my axis. Does that make sense? Right, so that's my 12, and I know it's 15 and 15. 15 up and 15 down. Right? And again, you don't have to show me that. You can just go, oh, I can see it. Right? So again, some people don't show the calculations. Some people do. So up to you. So again, this part here, up to you if you show it, but you don't have to. Okay. Now I'm going to get to my equation, but I don't have my period. So I have to get the period, so I need K. I need K for every single equation. So need K. Okay, I need K for every equation. So I know, and how do I get that K? It's going to be from here. So grab this guy here. 4 cycles in 10 minutes. 4 cycles in 10 minutes. And again, it's just, they really could have just told you. How do I get 1 cycle? From here, I'm going to go 10 divided by 4, which gets me 2.5. I'm okay if you go to decimal as long as it's a terminating decimal. An exact decimal is okay. Okay, if it's like a 1/3, then keep it as a fraction. So exact decimal is okay. Does that make sense? So exact decimals are okay, but if it's like a 1/3, then keep it exact. So only if it's an exact, it's okay, 2.5. So that is what? That's 2.5 is my period. There you go. See, you don't want me telling you the period. You want me making you find it. So then you go over here. So then we're going to go 2.5 equals 2 pi over k. Switch those. K equals 2 pi over 2.5. And that gets me, you can either do 0.8 pi or 4 pi over 5. I don't care either one, they're both exact. I'll accept exact decimals as long as they're exact. Right? If it's a third and stuff, you can't do 0.3333. Good? Do I need anything else? To get the equation, what else do I need?
Translation.
Yes, horizontal translation. So I have everything, but I don't know, look, I didn't even graph anything. I have nothing graphed. I have 0 graphed at this point. So I need to know for sine and cosine if it's been horizontally translated. Do you notice? I didn't even touch a graph. You have nothing graphed there. We only know everything except for the translation. So to get that, read the question. State the equation, if it starts at the maximum. Oh, so many words around here. So this is why your brain is thinking, thinking, thinking. Starts at the maximum, that tells me, right, we need more colors here in the diagram. Starts at the maximum means it starts here. So starts at the maximum is this. That's what it's telling you in the words. So it starts at the maximum. It could say it starts in the middle of the cycle, right? It could say it starts at the bottom, but it said starts at the maximum. So that's because it said. So starts max. It says it in the words. Does that make sense? So many arrows. I'm so sorry. I don't want to put another arrow there, but there. Okay, that means it's heading down. You don't have to draw this accurately, but like this. Okay, that means my natural graph that I have here is which? The sine or the cosine? Cosine, right? It starts naturally as a cosine. But I asked you, you're welcome, for both. Ha ha ha. So you don't get to choose. You have to do both. So that means you have to do the cosine graph, which is easier, no translation, but I also want the sine graph. Last year when I did this with my 11s, I always told them, find the next closest sine graph you can get to. It's periodic. It goes forever. Please don't find it 10 cycles to the left. I'll take off 10 marks. I'll be like, you made me work to find your starting point because you're mean. That's just, because then I have to get the period and I have to see that it doesn't match what you know. No, that's too much work. Find the closest one. So what do I mean by closest? Here, this is what I mean by closest. So on my sine graph, it starts in the middle and it heads up, yes, and down. So starting point should be middle heading up. Or, you know this now, last year we didn't do a lot of this, starts in the middle and heads down. This is sine. What's this? Negative sign. You're allowed to use a negative if you want. Last year you were too, not a lot of people did. Okay? I want the starting point to be the middle heading up or the middle heading down. So I want the starting point to be there. When you look here, you go, uh-oh, my starting point is way over here, middle heading up. But is there one that's closer? You could have started here and did a negative sign. That's closer. Also, yeah, what are you going to say?
Yeah, so you can shift it the other way.
Yes, please shift it the other way. This is periodic. You can do 9,000 cycles of this. Good luck trying to finish the test. You won't. But can you extend it just a teeny touch to the left and hit here? Just a little. Then you're closer. I don't want you moving over here. You don't need to move 3. How many dots? 1, 2. I have to move all the way over there. Can you get the closer one? The closer one is if you extend it to the left, get this one or this one. I'll accept either of those. That one, you're pushing your luck. I may take off a half mark because you're like that. There's closer ones to do. Okay? So I told my students last year, try to get the closest one possible. Try not to move. Last year I actually accepted that one because, yeah, okay. But really this year you should know there's 2. One to the left, one to the right, very close, right? How do I get that dot, though? How do I get that dot? So I'll think about if you lose marks on that one, but you really should be able to, at this point, know that there's 2 sides and it's periodic. How do I know where that dot is? Okay, this is why we need this diagram on the bottom. How long is the cycle?
2.5 minutes.
2.5? 2.5. So that is 2.5. We're going to cut that into how many sections whenever we do a trig one? Divide it into 4. Right? Because it's 1/4. We always cut it into quarters. You divide that and you get 0.625, I think. 0.625, which is 5/8. I don't think you have 8s memorized, but it's 0.625. Exactly, which is 5/8. Right, so, okay, which is 5/8. So every one of these is 0.625. So 0.625 plus 0.625. So if you want to do the third one, you'd have to go 3 times 0.625. If you want to do here, it's minus 0.625. So each one of these dots is at 0.625. Is that you get, that's distracting me. Someone close the door, please. Thank you. So every one of the dots is 0.625. Oh my God. 0.625. Does that make sense? So you cut it, the whole thing is 2.5 minutes. You cut it into quarters to know where every dot is, because every one of these trig cycles is 1 quarter, is 4 parts. Cast rule. 1, 2, 3, 4. 4. And so this is 0.625 plus 0.625. You can also do it this way. If this is 2.5, what's half of 0.625? Right? 2.5, 1.25. What's half of 1.25? 0.625. So any way you slice it, does that make sense? Sorry, that laughing was distracting me. So you can say the full cycle is 2.5. I divided it by 2. I got 1.25. Divided it by 2 again, 0.625. Right? So either way you cut that. Good? All right, so then your choice. So let's do 3 equations. I'm going to do the cosine, and I'm going to do both of the sine ones. Is that okay? So I'm going to do both of the sine equations. First one, let's do cosine. F of x equals, amplitude is 15, cos, and the period is, or the k is, I'll use the 4 pi over 5, but you can use either. X, closer up, no shift, and up 12, plus 12. Gorgeous. All right. For the sine, I'm going to do both of them. So if I'm heading up, then I've gone 15 sine, and we get 4 pi over 5 bracket x. And we shifted it 0.625 to the left, which is plus. And then plus 12. Is that okay? Or, okay, can you do one more for me? If I did this way, I would put a negative. So the only difference is I'd be a negative here. And then the k is the same. You see they're all exactly the same, except I'd shift it to the right. So minus 0.625. I don't mind if you do mix up the fractions and the decimals. Like technically you have a decimal with a fraction. It's okay. As long as they're exact, I'm good with that. Any questions or clarification?